Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Wind Down, which is every Thursday at 7 p.m. And I'm saying at 7 p.m. because today I'm on time, which hasn't happened in a long time. And I want to say thank you already to Dark Kinetics. Thank you for the donation. I appreciate you. So how are all of you doing for the super chat? I'm like, what the heck is the name of the thing? Let me know if you guys can hear me, and then we'll go ahead and start. Okay. Right? I'm never on time. Look at this. Everybody's like, oh, wow. People will probably roll in a little later. They're probably also curious what the hell we're about to talk about. So I think this should be pretty much interesting. Cool. Which we talked about LulaRoe many months ago in February, actually. So since then, there's now a documentary called LulaRich, which I highly recommend if you have like nothing to do, or if you like on the weekend. It's actually like a pretty good binge because it's full of nonsense. It's literally full of nonsense, but it's very interesting and then kind of infuriating. A little bit infuriating, very much interesting. Listen. All right. Sounds good. Oh, New Nubian, our donations don't show before the live starts, and I just finished the chalice a mess. I see Dark Kinetics. I see his, but it doesn't, I don't think it like shows. Oh, here we go. It shows if I click on it. There we go. All right. So let us go. We are going to get right into it. Hi, Sam. Oh, yes. Shout out to the sociologist. That was my major. I had an interdisciplinary studies degree, and it was sociology, humanities, and then legal studies. So yeah, awesome. So this is our agenda for today. We're going to talk about MLM versus pyramid scheme. Is there really a difference? Is there? According to the FTC, there is. According to me, there is not. But hey, we'll go with the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission. We're going to talk about LulaRoe and the Stidhams, the family that started LulaRoe. We're going to talk about their 5011 lawsuits. We're going to talk about Complicity and Felicity. And by Felicity, I don't mean the actual woman Felicity, but, women in general, because it was a lot of women scamming women and not a lot of accountability to go around in this documentary. And then we are going to talk about why MLMs are still legal in this country and the OG MLM and who runs that MLM, because it was very interesting the more I dived into it. Okay, so let's get with it. All right, I have like two of them pulled up. Okay, so as a background, if you have avoided those random calls by your friends. Oh, sorry, Jace. Sorry, Jace. It rhymes with complicit. Sorry, my bad, boo. So if you're minding your business and all of a sudden someone from high school that you never liked you and was actually probably rude to you in high school, all of a sudden, hey girl, I want to catch up. Let's go, for lunch, blah, blah, blah. And then they're trying to sell you Herbalife or whatever and all that jazz. It's an MLM. So what is the difference between an MLM and a pyramid scheme? Actually, let me make this bigger so that way I can see, because y'all know I cannot see. So according to the FTC, which is the Federal Trade Commission, who basically the FTC is charged with protecting consumers. Hey, Tiffany, at the most basic level, the law requires that an MLM pay compensation that is based on actual sales to real customers, rather than based on mere wholesale purchases or other payments by its participants. So we'll get into what that means. And then basically the FTC it's not just one like this or that rule set. It's a fact-based analysis. So they look at every MLM specifically when they get sued, because they all get sued all the time. When they get sued, they look at the facts of, okay, how do you pay out your payments? What's the structure as you operate? They include some of the factors are marketing presentations. So are you telling people, hey, you're going to make so much money, you're going to get out of debt? Are you targeting, who are you targeting? What are you telling them? Participant experiences. So they take a lot of firsthand evidence, eyewitness testimony, etc. They look at the compensation plan, because the compensation plan is the most important, and basically the incentives that the compensation plan creates. So what does that mean for LulaRoe and the Stidhams? So this is a pyramid structure for a pyramid scheme. So that's what this graph is for. And basically a pyramid scheme definition is a form of investment or a company in which each paying participant recruits two or more or one further participant, with returns being given to early participants using money contributed by the later ones. So basically what that means is if you're in a pyramid scheme, you start at the yellow. So say you start and you're the yellow, and you're like, okay, great, I just joined Amway, which Amway is an MLM. You're in the yellow and you're like, okay, cool, I'm going to sell these products. But to move up to orange, I don't get there from sales. I get there from recruiting other people. So now I bring in two people. I get a commission for bringing these two people. The more people I recruit, the higher I get into the pyramid. The difference between a pyramid scheme is that, oh, you make no money from sales of actual products versus an MLM, which is also called direct selling. You are supposed to be making money from direct selling. So we're going to get into LulaRoe specifically and like what they were selling. The idea is that, okay, I buy everything wholesale and you sell it for retail. So I buy a shit ton of leggings. Say I spend like $10 per legging with you, but then I'm going to sell it for $25. So I'm going to make $15 back. That's essentially supposed to be the idea. That's not what happens. That's not really how that worked, which is why they have gotten sued 11 times. Okay, so let's go to the next part. So this is a product, and I'm only showing it so you can see how ugly these leggings are. I don't know why people were ever wearing them. This started like some MLMs, the way they start, the product is sketchy. Some MLMs, the product is great. For example, Mary Kay is a very famous MLM. Mary Kay has decent products, but as the seller, you have to buy everything upfront. Why anybody would purchase these is beyond me. When they started with maxi skirts, when maxi skirts were all the rage for the suburban women. And they're in bright colors and they were very comfortable. The product was actually very high quality. It then turned into moldy mess according to the lawsuits and according to that documentary. So basically, the people that wanted to get into LulaRoe had to spend between $5,000 and $10,000 to purchase these interestingly patterned leggings, and they then were going to sell them back. But to be a standing member and to be in good standing, you had to purchase upwards of $5,000 to $10,000, sometimes $12,000 of merch every month. So if you don't purchase it, you are not, a LulaRoe gal. And I don't know, like apparently that's like a big thing back in the day, as in 3 years ago, to be a LulaRoe gal. Okay. So let's move on. So who decided to come up with this idea? These are the Stidhams. Let me make them a little bigger. Y'all know what my face looks like. These are the Stidhams. Deanne and her husband, Mark Stidham. Mark, who loves to interrupt Deanne. And there was, when you start researching them, there's a lot of mention that they're Mormon. And at first, when I first covered this in February, I didn't really understand. I was like, why do people keep saying like, oh, they're Mormon? Like, what does it matter that they're Mormon and they happen to also be running what Washington State called a pyramid scheme? And the reason why, and Deanna explained this herself, in Mormon culture and in the Mormon religion and the community, they believe in self-reliance. They are very much into, hey, I have my own business. Hey, I'm doing this by myself, which translates into, unfortunately for them, whether however you want to take it, which translates into a lot of people in their community being subjected to MLMs, purposefully and not purposefully. Also, random side note, my third grade teacher, that was her last name. So the minute I saw this, I was like, she was like a very crotchety old lady, but she loved me. So it was very strange. Also, let me know if the rain is too loud. It is pouring outside in New York for some odd reason. It has been raining a lot lately. So these are the Stidhams. So let me go to my notes. So what's important to know, the way they told their story was, Deanne was making these maxi skirts and people loved them so much. She started selling them out of her trunk, and, other women wanted to sell them. She was doing pop-up shops. She's doing all these things, etc., etc. Deanne is like this lovely entrepreneurial woman. What they left out, and they mentioned for like 2 seconds, is Deanne and Mark both had tried Amway. We're going to get to Amway at the end. Amway is the OG original MLM. They have basically perfected the modern MLM. And most people have no idea what the hell Amway sells. And we're going to get into that. And who owns Amway and who's the heir to the Amway billion fortune. So they basically had this idea that the salesperson is actually the customer. So when they started LulaRoe, they were incentivizing people to buy LulaRoe. The way that you got your bonuses was how much wholesale you bought, and you had the people under you buying. It was not, hey, my bonus is based off of, oh, Stephanie sold, I don't know, how many leggings are people selling? Stephanie sold 50 leggings. Okay, I'm going to give her a bonus on this. It was no, the person Stephanie recruited bought wholesale for themselves. 50 leggings, give Stephanie a bonus, which creates a perverse incentive system of people then recruiting other women to be a girl boss. And mess. One of the things they said that really stood out to me, because there are a lot of parallels between their business structure and the hypergrowth that they went through in tech. So I work in tech, as like most of you know. I'm a tech attorney. I like worked in startup land, child, as an attorney, maybe like almost like 5-6 years. And then like I interned too, like back in law school. So it's been a long time. When people go through hypergrowth, they have to get very loyal employees. They have to get loyal employees for a few reasons. One, you have to learn how to build all the processes. There's no actual company structure in place, which we're going to get into. And then two, you have to incentivize people as to why you're paying them low. And by why you're paying them low, the consultants are very separate from like their actual corporate employees. They interviewed a bunch of their corporate employees, all of who were very interesting people, and you could tell were being underpaid. So one of the things that Mark said, he said, we're not in the retail business, we're in the people business, which reminded me exactly what one of two, maybe three of my former tech employers have said. We're not in insert excerpt business that they're actually in. We're in the people business. If someone tells you they're in the people business, just run, just walk away. Unless you work in HR and that's your job to make sure that people are actually happy and they're not being harassed, walk away, because there's nothing but foolishness going to happen to you. Nothing but nonsense. Okay, so let's go to the next part. So this is the Stidham family. So again, we're going to go through some like quick numbers of how they started. So what they called their initial people who were buying into LulaRoe, they called them retailers / consultants. So we just use those interchangeably. Then when they started, they're like, you see the progression throughout the documentary of how many retailers they decided that they had. So when they finally hit, hold on, my hair's up. When they hit 3,000 retailers, they realized like, oh, dang, we have all these people buying wholesale, selling retail, living their girl boss fantasy, buying 2 cars, et cetera, we have no corporate structure. So they decided to set up an LLC. They incorporated, they bought headquarters in Corona, California, and then decided to go about running a business. They then appointed, they have lots of children. I don't remember the number of children. They had children separately. And then later in life, they got married. Only saying that to say, because they pointed it out, and it was very odd, that 2 of their children who are not related are married to each other. Which that was the least problematic thing of all the problematic things in this documentary, and that's saying something. So they then proceeded to put their children in VP, director, and finance roles. Their children who had none. Yes, we did do this before in February. So they're 11. Okay, 11. We're going to go with 11 from Nubian. They then proceed to put these children who have no background in marketing, CMO, put the children head of finance, head of experience, all these things. And the children have no idea like what the hell is going on. But they're like, oh, I have a corporate job now, I'm going to do this. This is them and their family in their private jet that they started riding around in because they started making money. Nepotism was working good for them. And who was the wiser? Because the retailers, the consultants, the women buying in were like, oh, well, I'm an independent business. They sold them, hey, you stay-at-home mom. Hey, you single mom. Hey, you mom that, you need a little extra cash to buy your kid, send them to dance lessons, etc. Run your own business and let us help you run your own business. So they separated themselves from all these women. So their corporate ran an entire amok. All right. The rain is so loud to me, but hopefully it's not that loud to you. So they, at one point, because they had so much money, they hired Mario Lopez for a corporate event. I thought that was good marketing on their end. So their marketing team was kind of smart, even though they didn't have any business running a full-on marketing team. They had enough sense to know okay, what do middle-aged mostly white women want to see. And they're like, okay, let's do the 90s thing. So like the 80s and the 90s. And they hired Mario Lopez. The minute they hired Mario Lopez to do like a corporate event, they got 11,000 signups for retailers. Mind you, these women are all buying in. They're all paying $5,000 to $10,000 to join this business. They are paying to join the business. Corporate could not pay me. Corporate could not tell me to pay to join corporate. Can you imagine if your boss was like, hey, I'm going to need you to pay, and then, you're going to recoup the funds. I'm going to need you to pay for this labor. It would make no sense because these MLMs make no sense. It doesn't make any sense. And the reason why they do that is once they buy in and they buy like etc. amount of leggings and they get all this stuff, they have no liability. They're like, oh, that's yours. Remember, girl, you're running your own business. You're a girl boss. You're a queen. Go and sell that. We sold it to you. I'm done with this transaction now. Now you, independent mom, go and do you. It is a structure designed to scam people. Okay. So I have lots of notes. That's why I keep pausing. So in the beginning of 2016, I think this is 2015. I think I wrote this wrong. The beginning of 2015, the gross profits were over $70 million. And mind you, their profits are of people buying wholesale, not of how much money is made in sales. It's people buying wholesale and thinking like, yes, I saw, my neighbor Susie Q down the street and she is living good and I want to live good like her and I'm about to do this too. So with that, they started to experience what they called catastrophic growth. This happens, and this reminded me so much of startups, where basically the growth is outpacing how corporate process is being set up. You hired a bunch of people, and by people, their family, who have never worked in a corporation, a large corporation now that basically has all of these employees. If you're going to count all the retailers, they now have 11,000 mini businesses, aka their tangential employees that they're responsible for. They've never run a business this large. So now they're running around like, oh, how do you do payroll? How do you process refunds? How do you do this? What are we supposed to do with that? They started just outpacing it. So to make sure and to keep up with the demand, they're like, that's fine. We are going to make this seem super exclusive. So they started putting people on wait lists. 8 weeks to wait, to spend your money to get their leggings. So that way you could be your own little girl boss. The only things that they actually did properly, the only things they actually did well was figuring out how to get people super excited about these ugly leggings and to want to do this. That is literally the only thing they did well in this whole entire thing. So they started throwing a whole bunch of leadership events. They did a LulaRoe cruise, that was hilarious. They spent $30 million for a private Katy Perry concert. And at the end of 2016, in December, they reached over $2 billion in growth. That growth is faster than 99% of tech companies. And that growth was so fast because in all their marketing materials, they sold these women a dream. The dream of, hey, work part-time, get full-time pay. Hey, you want to spend more time with your family? Come do this, sell some leggings. Everybody loves this. This is so great. And all of these women were like, yes, to the point where at one point they had over 90,000 consultants and they all bought into it. All 90,000. Yes, I want to do this, which as a tangential side note says a lot about America in general, that people are so desperate that they think selling ugly leggings is going to get them enough money to simply pay for extra stuff for their kids. And that people know other people are so desperate that they're like, oh, well, capitalism in America works two ways. You work yourself to the ground or you find somebody to work to the ground for you, which is essentially what they did because those women were not doing part-time work. All right. So that is essentially, listen, I had to take a screenshot of that man. This is not the best screenshot of him in this outfit, but it was essentially in 14 months, they hit the 2 billion growth, which is insane, which is really, really insane. So this is one of the nephews. You can't see the outfit really well, but it was a hip hop inspired outfit and it looks less problematic than it was in this section. And it really bothered me. So I put that. And then there's Katy Perry, unbeknownst to her, performing for what Washington State deemed a pyramid scheme. Yep. All right. So we covered this back in, one second, let me make sure I got all of it. Okay, yep. We covered this back in February, so I wanted to do the little excerpt from February so we could go see that. Hold on. Okay, let's see. So they have literally 50 lawsuits going on at one time. They were sued 50 times. Some of it's dwindling down, some of it's really not. So we're going to get into the specifics of some of their lawsuits. And we're just going to do like this small excerpt. This has nothing to do with Mariah. But when we used to do Wine and Lawsuits Wednesdays, when I would do a couple of lawsuits together, Mariah was one. And the pyramid, the money pyramid was for them. So we're going to play this really quick. Let me make this big. Okay. The state's pyramid scheme law. They define any enterprise as a pyramid scheme if they offer the opportunity to earn compensation primarily from recruitment rather than retail sales. There are a lot of these floating around the internet. Y'all have seen them. All of a sudden you're minding your own little business. Next thing you know, a friend from college, a friend from high school pops up in your DMs. Hey, oh my God, I would love to catch up. 2 hours later, they're trying to sell you on buying $10,000 worth of leggings. Or flat tummy tea. Or world vacation. I'm saying it. I've gotten a few of those. So yes, which reminds me. Gabriel got me new wine glasses. Aren't they cute? Because he accidentally broke my wine glass. Avon is one of the originals. Listen. All right, so. And to Jack's point, is a good, real hustlers can sell salt to a slug. Yes. It's really a shame. It's really a shame. And what we're going to get to is there's actually little to no accountability for anybody involved by the end of this. Yeah, they made a documentary. Yeah, like they look bothered. But did anything actually happen to them? And the short answer of that is not really. Hold on, don't play again. Okay, go to the next one. Okay, here we go. So let's get into some of these lawsuits. So they have about 50 lawsuits. This is, let me make this a little bigger so y'all can see it. This is from Washington State. So Washington State was the only state to go after them. And basically, they awarded the plaintiffs $4 million. So mind you, they made $2.2 billion. And the state of Washington, let me know if y'all can hear me because the rain is so loud. So I could be loud too. That's fine. They awarded the plaintiffs $4 million for the state of Washington. So anybody who had been harmed. $4 million versus $2.2 billion, just to put this in context. So this is from Seattle. Attorney General Bob Ferguson announced today that LulaRoe will pay $4.75 million, okay, a little extra coins in there, to resolve Ferguson's consumer protection lawsuit, asserting that LulaRoe, a California-based multi-level marketing business that sells leggings and other apparel to a network of independent retailers, was operating as a pyramid scheme. So the key word here is independent retailers. If you're an independent retailer, honey, you're not getting no benefits. There is no health care in this for these women. There's nothing. There's just the dream of, hey, I sound fine. Okay, great. Thank you, Nubia. Hey, I can do this. And a lot of these women started and were like, oh, I'm going to get out of debt. Like, okay, I bought $10,000 worth of leggings. I'm going to get $20,000. Next thing they know, they're doing the math. They're like, dang, I'm not really getting like much money back from these leggings, but I am getting money back when I recruit my friends. And we're going to get into the like some of that because it was like very interesting. So this is the structure of LulaRoe. So this is like one of the women. So sorry, Jace, but Complicity and Felicity, because they rhymed. So basically the structure was broken out into retailer. So that's the bottom level. So think of yellow. Coach. So coach means you recruited retailers. Trainer. Trainer means you had coaches and retailers under you. And then mentor. Mentor was the Don Dada, the highest you could be like, okay, I have, one of the women had literally hundreds of other women under her. As in she had never met some of these women she was making money off of. It is a flow up structure. So every person who recruited under them, they would get a check. She would get a check. The one at the bottom would get a check. The one at the top would get a check. If you are in the yellow, which was 90, I think at one point over 95% of people were just retailers. If 95% of you are in the bottom level, Only the top percent, actually, I'm being kind. It was only 2% of people were actually making money. Only the top percent of the people are making any money, but yet they're still pulling in other people telling them, hey, yeah, girl, it's the leggings. It's the leggings. Meanwhile, it's not the leggings writing their check. What's writing their check is the bonus structure. And again, according to the FTC, a pyramid scheme is when you can only make money from recruiting people behind you. An MLM is, oh, I also make money from these leggings. Child, by the end of it, women were standing there like, I have made no money in months from the leggings. Like, I'm not making money from the leggings. Okay, so we are going to talk about this because I thought this was very interesting. So these are two of the women that were on the documentary. The one on the left is from Washington, which is important. And the one on the right, I forgot where she lived. But it's important the one on the left is from Washington. The one on the left became a mentor. The mentor is the highest you can be. At one point, the state of Washington stated there were 2 women, only 2 in the whole state of Washington that in the span of 3 years had made over $2 million. Boo-boo, if there's only 2, one of them is you. When asked this question, the woman was like, oh, I can't answer that. Like, I would never disclose how much I made. She had realized, it seemed to me like, oh, if I say this, like I'm admitting I made all this money off of these other people. The one on the right felt awful. At one point, she was crying. She felt bad. She realized, I have to leave this. I'm scamming other women. That's the only way I'm making money. She admitted that, hey, my checks are only coming because I am recruiting other women. And the women I'm recruiting are, entrepreneurial. They're recruiting other women. Everybody's recruiting everybody. But by the end of it, the way the documentary was framed, it was like, look at the awful Stidhams. They're the problem. Child. The Stidhams didn't recruit everybody. They're roping other people in to doing crime, but then they're the only one getting the finger pointed at them. And to that didn't really sit right with me because where's the accountability? The one on the left had no accountability. She's like, I'm not answering to this. I'm not talking about this. Yet she wanted to be in the documentary. So I was like, girl, you want to be seen a little bit, but like, you're not going to admit that maybe you bamboozled some people. The one on the right was besides herself. There was also another woman shown who at one point was doing so well. She bought 2 cars. She was doing great. And then when they started getting sued, they changed the commission structure to, okay, instead of you getting paid off of how many of the people, thank you, Kyle, how many people are buying wholesale, you're going to get paid off of what people are actually selling. The minute that happened, she admitted like, hey, my check is like way low. Like I was making 10 grand a month off these girls. I'm like down to 1,000. Like this is not going to work for me. If you have to, I think MLMs, as awful as they are a perfect example of how capitalism works. It only works if you prey on other people. It literally only works if you prey on other people. Price gouging is a good example. When hurricanes happen, as someone who's grown up in Miami, everybody, Publix, Home Depot, the mom and pop, everybody in their mom, all of a sudden water, which costs $2, becomes $10 because people know you need the water. I'm going to charge whatever I want. They have no need to charge that money. They could charge their regular price. They just did this in Louisiana with the hurricane. It is awful. But the person selling it is like, well, they got to buy it from somebody. So if it's not me, then like, why not? That's an awful thing to do. But people still continue to do it. People still continue to prey on others, like in this documentary, and then cry that they are the victim. Yes, 2 things can be true at once. Yes, you are the victim because this whole system is a mess. You have also victimized other people. Some of them ended up going broke. Over 100 retailers from LulaRoe had to file for bankruptcy. 100 of them had to file for bankruptcy, citing, hey, it's due to this because I done gave my best and my last for these $10,000 for these leggings. The leggings came in moldy. The leggings came in this. The leggings came in that. Because when they scaled so fast and they had no actual operation system, they were leaving leggings outside. The leggings, the quality went down the drain, which is what happened. This whole thing could have been a legal MLM if they had said, you know what? I know we're scaling fast, but do we need 90,000 retailers? No, we really only have capacity for 45. Let's keep it at 45. They would have still been so rich. But no, it's the greed. It's I want to sit in the jet. I want to do the nonsense. I want to be a big baller, a shot caller, a foolishness. And that's why they stay doing. Listen, price gouging in Miami is it's awful. It's so awful. All right, so let's get into this. I wanted to point out, which is, I think y'all will be, I was very surprised about this. We are very familiar, those of us in the education system or with student loans, who the woman on the left is. That is Betsy the Devil DeVos, the former Secretary of Education. And that is her husband, Dick DeVos, which surprisingly to me and unsurprisingly at the same time, Dick DeVos is the heir to the original MLM, Amway. Dick DeVos was the CEO of Amway for many, many moons. Dick DeVos stands to inherit billions of dollars from a company that most people have no idea what they do. No idea. Amway, because I wrote it down because I was like, I'm familiar with the name, but I have no idea. Sells health, wellness, beauty, nutrition, and home care products. That sounds like everything. So again, I have no idea what they're selling. No, I don't know. I don't know if y'all have ever bought anything. Surprisingly enough as well, they are the 44th largest private company in the entire United States of America. 44. They, every year, their profits are around $8 to $9 billion. Yes, they get sued on average, according to some sources, 3 times a month at least for, according to many class actions, allegedly operating as a pyramid scheme. I have it down. And yes, as mentioned before, the Stidhams started at Amway. The Stidhams were very familiar with, okay, how do you figure this out? Listen, this is the happiest man in the room. He is living good, doing nothing, watching other people flounder and do nonsense. Listen. All right. So hold on, let me catch back up. In 2013, which I found very interesting, in 2013, the CEO of Amway, who at the time was not Dick DeVos, was arrested in India for violating India's laws against pyramid schemes. Shout out to the Indian government for being like, not today. Yes, they operate globally in almost every single country. The country of India said, you know what? Set up a whole sting and arrested this man, to which the U.S. lost its mind that a U.S. CEO was arrested and quote unquote, with the U.S. with their snobbish nose loves to think is the third world. Well, guess what? No, he was not prosecuted, but the fact that he was arrested, hilarious to me, because it's crazy. How are they still in business? Exact. Okay. Which is what we're going to get into in like 2 seconds. Okay. So now, how are they still in business? Which is what I wanted to know, because to me, a whole ass lawyer, when you read the definition of pyramid scheme and the definition of MLM, they sound very similar. There's only one small difference in the FTC's opinion, which is in an LLM, you can make actual money from selling actual products. Yes, the people at Herbalife is making money from selling actual Herbalife. Now, according to FTC, it doesn't have to be a lot of money, but you have to be making some money. It's giving pyramid scheme, but the FTC thinks it's different. So why does the US government still allow this? One reason and one reason alone, and it's lobbyists and lobbyist money. So there is the Direct Selling Association, which is a lobbying group. And they basically pay to take out our politicians for filet mignon, and 130 MLMs are part of said association. In 2013, the FTC was proposing a law to restrict MLMs. Herbalife specifically was like, oh no, we're not doing this. They had barely spent any money on lobbying. In 2008 alone, they spent $800,000 on lobbying politicians. Said politicians included MLM-friendly Republicans, such as Paul Ryan. No surprise there that Paul Ryan is in the mix. Rick Santorum. No surprise that Dirty Rick is in the mix. Surprise, but no surprise, because now I have realized the Dems are just as awful. New York Congressman Adolphus Towns, Elliot L. Engel, and Gary Ackerman all received contributions from Herbalife to lobby for MLMs. Why the fact that our country even allows lobbying in the first place, I have yet to understand. I have yet to understand. If we, the regular people who pay the taxes, cannot sit there and tell the politician, hey, I done paid my taxes, so I gave you money, I paid your salary, and you're not doing what I told you to do, why should the corporation be allowed to wine and dine and let these politicians eat cheap filet mignon so they can sell us to the wolves? Why? What is the realization? What is the realization? And to Kat's point, can we all come to the realization that the vast majority of rich people are corrupt, immoral thieves, socialism for the rich, capitalism for everyone else? Yes, in the words of MLK. It is socialism for the rich and rugged capitalism for the rest of us because it's trifling. It's trifling, and they have scamming us, and they have been scamming us. Look how happy this man looks. This man is so happy. I've never seen a man that age look so happy because he stands to inherit off of doing what? What work? Betsy DeVos did what while she was a Secretary of Education besides terrorize teachers and annoy the crap out of all of us with student loans? What was the reason? What was the reason? So yes, that is that. And, I wish we could end on a positive note, but there's nothing positive about this and nothing positive about MLMs. Listen. Woo, Robert, they're living a good life. They're living a good life over here because it's trifling. And the only way to redo all of these things is for the 99% of people, which is the majority of us, to A, get rid of these politicians in office. Why? Certain of them are still in office. What's his name? Mitch McConnell. How many years are y'all going to let this man act a fool? And it's on both sides. It's on both sides, as we've proven multiple times. They have no accountability to any of us. They do not care. Joe Biden, literally, I'm not Joe's friend anymore. I never was his friend, but I'm extra not his friend these days because he's a liar. Literally went on public television and said, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. The audacity and the caucasity of that statement. But yet, well, I guess we have to. And we did. I did. I'm not going to lie. I did. I was like, well, it's not going to be great, but it's not going to be that bad. This man backslides on everything every day. And to Nine's point, people don't care enough. You know why? I think part of the reason why people don't care enough is because it's so hard to survive in this place. Everything is a struggle. Getting a house, struggle. Affording to pay rent, struggle. Getting a decent job where they don't treat you like crap, struggle. We did have to vote for him. We did. And I'm annoyed with him still. And I think we have to figure out a way to collectively hold these people accountable. Because what they're doing is like, hey, let me guilt trip you. And then we do it. And then they're like, ha, I'm going to do what I want to do. And it's like, no, you're not. You're going to do what I told you to do because we paid for you. So we're going to have to figure that out. Collectively, we're going to have to figure that out. So I don't have any answers on the how, but collectively, we need to get there. So yes, let me go to Kyle's point. Everyone got to go except maybe 5 of them. Agreed. Like, keep Bernie, can keep AOC. We can keep AOC. I have been reading some more things since our last discussion because I want to keep an open mind. Can keep AOC, but a lot of them need to go. Like, let Bernie pick. Let it do like when we were in elementary school and you have a team captain. Bernie can be the team captain, and I trust his judgment. I'll let him pick. I don't really care. Because these people are really crazy. So we're gonna go through some comments. All right. I think people disassociate. It's easier to ignore these issues, kind of like out of sight, out of mind. Otherwise, life is miserable. Completely agree. Because then you sit there, which sometimes when we go through and we do like these and I do the research, sometimes it's just depressing. Like Colonizer Exposed series that, yes, I owe y'all the next video about Colonizer Exposed on Patreon is going to be Haitian independence because we're covering France right now and the Haitian Revolution. So I owe y'all that. That'll come out this weekend. But doing that research is so heavy. But we have to push through because this is ridiculous. We cannot just keep accepting abuse. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. Listen, he's sprightly. He may be old, but he's sprightly. He's sprightly. I'm still rooting for Team Captain Sanders. Listen. All right, so let's go through. I'm gonna go through some of the comments. All right. Let's see. Okay, I think I read through those. Bernie's sitting during Joe's inauguration in that like unbothered mitten outfit. Hilarious. All right. So actually, I think I actually kept up. Okay. Listen, this is the truth though. Bronx women get things done. Yes. As someone who's lived in New York for all these years, Bronx women will get things done. It's true. It's very true. Listen, Bernie will wash a hoe up. Listen, Bernie does not care. Bernie makes me so happy. He's just so indignant, and I love to see it. I love to see an indignant person who's like, I said what I said, and I'm correct, and I'm trying to be helpful, and y'all are just like being annoying. He just looks constantly irritated, and I love it. Like, he looks tired of repeating himself to people. Listen, that orange jacket and those mittens and him just crossing his legs. I was very sad that I couldn't get one of those shirts that they were selling. I might have to find a bootleg one. But yes. So to Carl's point, this is a great question. Let's crowdsource the answer. How can we hold politicians accountable when they are stupid people? They are dumb. Make decisions for us. This is a good question. And I am going to do some research into that answer because I really have a blind spot, such I have never understood how lobbying works. Because to me, it sounds like it should be illegal. It sounds like it should be illegal that lobbyists literally go and wine and dine politicians. I've never understood the concept. The concept to me has always sounded very foreign and very, why is this legal? It's legal because corporations pay to get these laws put in place. That's why. But how do regular people get a lobbyist? How do we pay a lobbyist? Because this is not working out. This is literally not working out. And this is, yes, to Nai's point, this is the $1 million question because they need to be held accountable. I think threatening to vote them out definitely is there. We need more people to vote. Like only about 50% of Americans actually vote. So if we all voted, then maybe they would really be afraid. But yeah, we got to get up in their business like they're in our business. We need to get up in their business. But yes. Hello, Nancy in the Kente. I literally sent Nancy in the Kente cloth today to one of my coworkers. Yes, I did. I lit. It should be illegal. Lobbying should be legal. Completely agree. And then Candron, lobbying is bribery. I completely agree. I don't have any good reason or any like legal rationale as to why lobbying is not illegal. I do not understand. It's just strange. It's strange. So lobbying is so weird in a democracy. Maybe we'll do a video on like lobbying because I feel like our taxes are a payment for the politician to be lobbied for us. Like, boo-boo, I pay my taxes every year. Like, I don't understand. Like, what else do you want? So yes. All right. We need people as dedicated as the Dumbo squads, and that's hard. I don't know what that is, but I have to look at it. The penny has a lobby. The 99% need a lobby. We need a lobby. I mean, we need to set up a GoFundMe for a lobby for the 99%. If we all gave $1, that's a lot of money. Okay. Also, you would need people with actual scruples to run that because, child, people too quick to scam. People are too quick. Good old fashioned payola. Oh, payola. That's continuing. I saw more interviews were had today. Child foolishness. Oh, Kiki, this is a very good point. We need term limits for public office. I completely agree. Why do presidents have term limits but not the Senate and congressmen? Why? Why do people say, I'm passing down my seat to so-and-so? Who are you to pass down your seat? It's not yours. You're not the Queen of England. F. Elizabeth, but y'all know how I feel about the monarchy. But yes. Every day I wonder where my taxes go, and I personally would like an itemized receipt. I feel like we are owed an itemized receipt of our taxes, and every once in a while, if you dig deep enough, they tell you like your taxes go to the military-industrial complex that terrorizes people and does nothing for anybody. But yeah, I would like my itemized receipt. I really would. Listen. All right, Sam. Sam, we are kindred spirit. That is every time I see a pothole, this is my thought. I pay taxes, yet this pothole still hasn't been fixed. Show me the receipts, Cardi B voice. Yes. And Cardi B asked for the receipts, which I was so proud of her when she said that to Bernie, like, hey, where is my money going? We ask these questions because we're just paying it. It just comes out of the check. It just comes out of the check. Like, what do you mean? Like, what are you doing with my actual money? Also, side note, and this company's out of business, this startup I used to work at, so I don't have a problem like saying it. I worked at this startup once back in the day, Series A. Never, I'm going to say this to you, do what you want with that information. Never work for a Series A startup, because so basically when you raise money, we are going to do, I know I'm jumping, but we're going to cover Theranos and Elizabeth, what's her last name? Holt? Elizabeth from Theranos. We're going to do her next week before the month ends, because that story is wild. And she ran this biotech startup she's on trial now for fraud. Billions of dollars in fraud she's on trial for. So basically, Series A companies, when you raise money for startups, you have a seed round. So seed is usually family and friends. Family and friends. You all see how the system is very coded language. People with money, people with generational wealth, white people. It is what it is. We get into like how the whole thing is problematic. Family and friends rounds, your family and friends round, you raise usually less than $1 million, like pennies in startup land, like $200,000, $300,000. Like, okay, I could pay myself, I could hire a developer, etc. Series A is the next step. Like, oh, I brought in VC and VC gave me money. Series A, with the exception of the outliers, usually less than $10 million you raise. And it's like, okay, this is going to give me a year of runway, a year of amount of time to run this business. I'm going to try and see if this product is viable, etc. I worked at a Series A company once. Never do it. Because if it goes under, you have no job, which is what happened. However, do you know what I realized as the attorney with this Series A company? Because I have to run everything. All of a sudden, people start calling. We stopped getting paid. Literally didn't get paid for 6 weeks. The New York State tax departments are calling. They're calling. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, what is this? The company, which is now defunct, out of business, the CEO is literally a wanted person. Foolishness. Authorities have called me. And I'm like, why? Why did it even work here? Like, I saw this on Built-in NYC, which is like a great website. And I'm like, why would y'all advertise this job to me? Like, this is commotion. They stopped paying our payroll tax. So they took the payroll tax out of my check, didn't pay the payroll tax. It never occurred to me as a regular person who pays their taxes that companies, they take your payroll tax, right? And it's their job. It's someone who sits in the finance department's job to then send that money to the IRS and to the state that you work in, if there is income tax in that state. Yes, Essence. Yes, you heard that correctly. I worked for 6 weeks and didn't get paid. For the one reason was like, oh, I'm going to get my money. Like, I'm going to help as many people as possible, but Stephanie is going to get her money. My grandma will come down here and light all this on fire. I'm going to get my money. But I also was looking for a new job. So then the crazier part was when I was looking for a new job, people were like, oh, you didn't work there that long. Like, why are you leaving? And I was like, oh, I haven't gotten paid in 6 weeks. And they're like, oh, yeah, happens with Series A. Straight face. And I was like, oh, this shouldn't be normal. And the fact that y'all think that this is normal is problematic. But yeah, I got my paycheck, to which the CEO called me the union leader. And I was like, good, I'm glad you feel that way. Run me my check and run all those people their check. Trifling, one of the most trifling things. Trifling is I experience. Tech can be a very lucrative place if you're in the right place at the wrong time, but tech can leave you assed out if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. So on that note, we are going to talk next week about Theranos and Elizabeth and that lawsuit, because that is a wild ride. And I've been following that case for a few years. Let me look up the documentary. So if you guys want to watch the documentary beforehand, because the documentary is very well done, but the documentary has a lot of holes in it because whoever did the documentary is not somebody super familiar with tech, to be honest. So there are holes in it. And nobody questions how the hell she raised billions of dollars on a product that did not work. A product that like nobody had ever seen, that actual doctors, there was biotech, medical tech, actual doctors said that product could never work. That product would never work a day in its life. So it's very interesting to see who gets money, who people are willing to give money to. Yes, it's a white blonde woman, who people are willing to give money to and why. because Elizabeth Holmes, I'm sitting, I'm like, it's not Holden. Like, what the hell's her last name? There we go. Elizabeth Holmes. And yeah, so she's on trial now for fraud. And it's one of the most interesting cases. Thank you, Carl. It's a top. It's from Zarina Akers. Zarina? I think her name is Zarina Akers. Yeah. It's a black designer. But yeah, Elizabeth Holmes, very, very interesting. Bad Blood is a good podcast. I think I listened to this too. It was similar to documentary. So I was like, oh, I know these things. And I had read I had been reading a lot on it. But to Canada on Bad Blood is a good podcast. It's the writer of the Wall Street Journal story, John Carreyrou or something like that. It's very good. I highly recommend. It's just a very interesting story on multiple ends as to why the hell this woman was allowed to do these things. Why she was allowed to do these things, the people that enabled her, the people that literally were in shock that she had taken money from them for a product that could never scientifically work. And her fake deep voice, dressing like Steve Jobs, it's wild. So we're going to do that next week. I think I might do a filmed video instead of a live. It depends on how the week goes. Oh, I'm like, it's the plan. I was like, what is in my hair? It's the plan. Yeah. So, yes. And then I'm behind as usual. What's new? The student loan video will go up this week too. So we'll do September student loan video, which will be good. And then next month, October, it happened this month, but they're always retroactive. I finally hit $100,000 paid, but I still owe 6 figures of student loans. So we're going to keep that. We're going to keep that we're going to talk about that. I'm not as mad as I thought I would be, but a little bit sad about it. So it is that. Yeah. Then this is so Liberated Life's point. And just to talk about Liz for a second, because when we do the story, if you're not familiar with it, you'll see why this is so wild. This is one of the wildest things to happen in tech. And to be honest, Silicon Valley for a long time was kind of scarred by it. Oh, maybe we shouldn't be giving billions of dollars to people for ideas, for PowerPoint presentations, for ideas. They honestly didn't seem to be that mad that they got duped by Liz. They didn't. That was the weird thing. It wasn't really the investors really that were much going after her. It was the federal government. Thank you, Liberated Life. I'm getting there. Y'all know I started at $304,000 of student loan debt. Sometimes people are like, how did you borrow that much? I'm like, I didn't. It's called interest. I borrowed $250 and then $54K was interest. And I redid that math, and the minimum I'm going to pay in interest is $75K. But we won't dwell on that right now. We won't dwell. We'll talk about it in the thank you, Sam. We're going to talk about it in that video. But yeah, I highly recommend either just if you're a podcast person, listen to the podcast. Elizabeth Holmes, if you type her in, and Theranos. Highly recommend the podcast if you're a podcast person. If you're a movie person, the documentary is great. It's very interesting. There are just significant holes when it comes to who gave her this money. And I think there are holes because the investors don't want to come out and be like, yeah, I gave this woman hundreds of millions of dollars for no reason. She raised almost $2 billion. Off of a product she never showed anybody. She never showed anybody this product. So something to just think about it. Maybe the investors were embarrassed, plus they were really wealthy. Oh, I owe you. I know you guys asked for Smile Direct and I haven't done it. We'll just be late and we'll just do it because I forgot to do it. Sorry. Yeah, we'll do Smile Direct because I thought it was interesting too. Yeah, they're embarrassed, but also they should be embarrassed because the system, the way Silicon Valley and tech is run, it's flabbergasting. When you've been in it for a while, it's disingenuous. It's a level of white privilege on a scale that most people cannot fathom, to be honest. And that's part that we want to talk about. That's what I want to talk about. They're not giving Black, Latinx. I've been trying to relearn my verbiage around that because some people have told me they don't prefer that term. So we'll get into that. They don't give Black and brown people that type of money. Indigenous people, that type of money. It's white people get that money and Asian people get that. Asians are overrepresented. In terms of population size in tech. So they are doing very well. They don't give even, and not, I'm not even saying that type of money. I mean, any money. Like there is a list of Black women that have made raised $1 million for their startup. And the list is not even 100 long. Like it's an actual list you can see of Black women founders who have gotten funding. If we made a list of white male founders who have gotten funding, the list would be thousands of people, tens of thousands of people, maybe, if we're being honest. Like, it's just kind of crazy. So was I sad for them that they lost their money? Hell no. Do I want to like point it out like this whole system is kind of fucked? Yeah, I do, because it's kind of crazy. It's crazy. They found her attractive, and the documentary. The documentary is really interesting. At one point in the documentary, because she fakes her voice, said she faked her voice because men listen to a deeper voice more than a woman's voice, than a higher pitched voice. So she did research that higher pitched voices come off as whining, so she made her voice deeper, and she also, according to her, that a deeper voice is more attractive to men. It's a lot. Like it's a lot of like psychological, like her just scamming around, to be honest. It's kind of crazy. All right, so I'm gonna go through these and then I'll let y'all go eat dinner. Oh, look at us on time. I'm like 8:00 dinner on what today? Thursday. To Sam. And think about it, the people who use the idea and believe the health results from it. Yes. And that, I need to look exactly what her charges are. So I know we've been talking around it, sorry. Basically, Theranos, the medical startup, claimed that instead of you getting your blood work done, because a lot of people are afraid of needles, instead of you getting stuck in your arm or in your wrist, they would just finger prick you. Tiny little finger prick, and you can get your blood work done. That is not possible as of today. It is not possible. It was not possible when she thought the idea. She dropped out of a very prestigious college. I feel like it was Stanford. I don't remember right now. A very prestigious Ivy League college to test this theory, and people invested in her company billions of dollars on something that multiple doctors told her was not possible. So she had a rollout in actual drugstores where people were getting incorrect results because this is not possible. So I have to look at what her charges are. I know there's counts of fraud in there. There should also be counts of crimes related to medical abuse. That's wrong, because you know who mostly was affected by this? Poor working class people, Black and brown people. That's who's going into Walgreens, into CVS, into the drugstore to get blood work done, and not the actual doctor's office. It was Stanford. It's always Stanford, child. They stay dropping out of Stanford. It's always Stanford. But yes. This. So Kevin Reeves, like the white guys specializing in diversity. Chelsea sent me this article, and I said, I will personally slap the taste out of this man's mouth. The white guys specializing in diversity getting the $50 million. $50 million. Other white men invested in 2 white men to help work on algorithms for diversity. Okay. Last week, when there's several Black women trying to get that funding. Yeah. Jopwell literally was one of the first companies founded by Black people to do this, which is diversity recruitment, etc. With algorithms to help people. Like, it's the same damn idea, but 2 white men are more palatable. Like, child, I'm gonna say this now, and I'm just gonna say it. I don't care. Today, I found out that the D&I team at my company is entirely white. The minute I found out, I was like, let me log off real quick before I say something. Because I don't know how many times I have to say, if you don't have any racialized people on our diversity inclusion team, what are you doing besides irritating other people? Nothing. It's not helpful. If you're not a racialized person, like, what? This is why that tone-deaf ass that we talked about, Juneteenth memo, went out, and why I had to go gather them and make people uncomfortable and be like, hey, this Juneteenth memo is incorrect. I live in a diverse neighborhood, blah, blah. Girl, I didn't call you racist. I'm just telling you it's incorrect. That's it. But yet, the whole D&I team is white women. Child. Irritating. I'm irritated. I've had a very long day. They don't care. They don't care at all. And it's not even past performative. It's let me spend company dollars on foolishness to hire other white people. Like, what? What? Yeah, y'all wild. Y'all, they're wild. They're wild. I'm not, I told everybody else in the ERG, I said, listen, you can go negotiate with people if you want to. Like, I'm over that. I rather invest my time making sure everybody's okay. So, I'm not doing it. I'm like, this is nonsense and foolery and ridiculous. Exact ridiculous. So to Sam's point, oh no, I found out that the D&I team looking for people of color are white and male. And they asked me, why isn't there enough diversity in higher EDU? They always want to ask. And to be honest, I think it's a rhetorical question. It's a rhetorical question to make people feel good. It is. It is. Hi, Windfire. It's a rhetorical question to make people feel good. Like, why? Like, we're doing everything we can. Remember, I do DE&I consulting on the side. And lots of times people are like, but we're doing everything. I'm like, no, you're not. And I just tell them, I'm like, you already paid me. You already paid me. I'm going to tell you. I'm like, you're not. You have other white people complaining to other white people like, we can't get the diversity. We can't do this. But when we hire, we don't find enough qualified candidates. Stop that. Stop lying. Stop lying to yourself because it's not productive. It's not productive. It's gaslighting. It's complete gaslighting to Nice point. They know it's a gaslight. In my opinion, it is gaslighting. It's a deflection of, I don't want any responsibility. I'm doing everything I can. Oh, I'm so overwhelmed with this. This is so much information. I really can't take in all this information about everybody's treated so bad and it was me and I'm treating them bad. Take it in. Take it in. Sit with it. If you're uncomfortable for 5 minutes, Peggy, it's okay. You will not die. Discomfort will not kill you. Discomfort will not kill you. So that's that. Yeah. But yeah, I appreciate y'all for letting me rant about that for 2 seconds. That's why I was on time today, because I was like, close the computer. I'm done with this. No, gotta go. That's why I closed the computer. I was like, oh, I'm going to be on time for this live today because I'm not dealing with the BS. I'm not dealing with the BS of this. This doesn't make any sense. But yeah, on that note, I appreciate y'all. So things coming up. Every time, shout out to the South Africans. Every time y'all tell me about this, and the more like I learn about South Africa, the more I'm like, listen, Bridget, like, this doesn't make no sense. It's awful. It's awful. And it's the entitlement that comes with it too. Because when you question people, then they get upset. Like, how dare you ask me that? It's like, I dared and I did ask you. Now answer my question. Answer my question why the whole D&I team is white. Answer my question. Give me a good answer because there's none and you look foolish. I've become indignant in my old age. I've become very indignant in my old age. Thank you. I appreciate y'all. Thank you. But yes. All right, y'all. Look, so timely today. I'm just proud of us for being so timely. Okay, so things coming up, just so I'm saying it out loud so I remember. Student loan, September update. France, Haiti Revolution for Patreon. Theranos and Smile Direct. Yes, Smile Direct will do. So those 4 I think we'll get before end of month. And if there's anything else that you guys want to see, let me know. Oh yes, I have one question. Sorry. Do you guys want to do like a music artist like Q&A? Oh, I have burp. Sorry. Let me know if you guys want to do that. I did the Joyner Lucas, his contract. Like I went through his contract with Karen Civil. And at the end of it, I had asked. So I should have asked earlier so that way more of you would see it. But yeah, if you want to do that, let me know. And then we'll do like a Q&A. I think the Q&As are more helpful. So that way more people can ask their questions. Because I know a few of you have reached out to me if like I take private clients and I don't take private clients. For like a few reasons. One is like there's time constraint, but also because child is stressful. Not have like the client relationship's fine. It's having to then like fight with other people. Like, hello, like we're not doing this. Like, stop the nonsense. And it's so contentious. So I think like a Q&A could be like super helpful. And I'll just like have y'all submit questions beforehand, and then we'll try to go through as many questions as possible. So let me know. We'll do that. Okay, cool. Yes, Jace. I know Jace sent me his question. Okay, cool. We'll see if maybe we'll get, oh yes, Hispanic Heritage Month of this month. I always, I have some thoughts. Because I've been Mexican Excellence. You guys should follow her on YouTube. Has some like great information. And I have been like, as somebody who's grew up in Miami, I'm like very familiar. However, I'm not, Hispanic. So I've been learning new things, and I've been seeing a large push of indigenous people saying like, hey, we not addressing the real issue is that, you know, like I'm a colonized person and y'all lumping me as my colonizer. So now the more I learn, the more I research with like colonizer exposed, I have been trying to figure out like what is the right like verbiage and like, you know, when trying to think about these things. But yes, I'll look into some of that. All right. I haven't looked at his case, to be honest. I haven't looked at it. I saw like a few things, but I haven't looked at it. I know a few of you like asked about it, but I haven't even gotten over there yet. Certain things, to be honest, because people ask, I'll just address it now. People ask for this, people ask for Nicki Minaj. Certain things will just get taken down. Certain things they have gotten taken down before. So I'm just like, oh, it's like so much effort to put in like so much work just for YouTube to be like, can't talk about this. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, what also do change all the words for what somebody did? Like, but we'll see. But yeah. All right. So Q&A. Okay, cool. I'll let you guys know about like where to submit the questions for Q&A. All right. On that note, y'all have a good night. I appreciate all of you. What do I think about Jason? Yeah, I am. I'm not, because it's going to get taken down. It's going to get taken down and it's going to be like commotion. It's going to be commotion. Assault. It's about assault. New newbie in that other case. So, which is very sad. Agreed, Jay's child. Agreed. So yeah, on that note, y'all have a good night and have a good weekend. I'm like, what day is it? So have a good weekend. But yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Bye. And yes, check out Mexican Excellence. I think it's very good. Her channel is very eye-opening in terms of learning how different people in the South American and Central American like diaspora feel about like certain things. It was very interesting to me, like having grown up in Miami and been like, oh no, it's this way. I'm like, oh, different people like don't think it's that way. Like, okay. So it's been a learning lesson because we are gonna do colonizer exposed Spain, child. They done messed up a whole section of the world. So we definitely are gonna get to there. All right. Night, everyone. Have a lovely weekend. I'll catch y'all later. Bye.